Welcome on to this edition of Up. You might be wondering, what is that? Well, the good news is, before we get into today's podcast, we have got a couple of limited edition Coach Parry bib boards. Yep, that is it. It's little clips that'll help you clip your Comrades race number onto your vest. Not only have we got the Coach Parry ones, this is the only place you can get these. Comrades Marathon bib boards. So if you'd like to get your hands on bib boards for Comrades Marathon, that is so you don't prick yourself with safety pins, your number doesn't rip off. These things are amazing. All you need to do is head over to coachparry.com/bib. You can also click on the link that's in the description now or scan the QR code that is on screen right now. That's if you want to get your hands on Comrades Marathon bib boards. It'll allow you to safely and securely fasten your number to your race vest come Comrades race day. You can collect them at the Coach Parry stand. Just head over to coachparry.com/bib. Let's get straight into today's podcast. Welcome on to this edition of Up. It is the final one before Comrades 2024. My name is Brad Nadalt. I've got the official Comrades Marathon coach, Lindsey Parry, with me. Lindsey, we're about to hop in a motor vehicle and head down to KZN. Really excited to be heading to Durban for Comrades this year. I know a lot of people are excited. There's a lot of nerves around, but this is it. A lot of people tuning into this podcast and webinar because we've been promising it. We're going to tell people how to save 20 minutes on race day. Doesn't matter what your goal is. That's all coming up on today's podcast. How are you doing? How are you feeling this race week?
Yeah, very good. Very excited. I'm excited about the race up front. I'm excited about getting to the expo. I'm very excited about meeting all the people that we've been talking to in the forums, that we've had asking questions in the webinars, that have been sending us messages about how much they're loving these podcasts. So yeah, very, very much looking forward to the next week. It's going to be a lot going on. And yeah, it's going to be a great week all around.
It is going to be a goodie. And before we get into the expo and just the final sort of details about the expo, some things that you need to know. Lindsey, we spoke a lot about setting correct goal for Comrades on Sunday last week with regards to that little formula that you put out, 2.5 times your marathon time. But one of the dangers with setting a goal, like a time goal for your finish time, especially now that you've tapered and you're feeling a lot better and you're raring to go and the excitement's there and people are saying, wow, you're a lot fitter than you've been in years. And it's 2 words, goal escalation. That's what we want to talk about today. One of the dangers is going, you know what, I feel good. I think I can do a 10, but maybe I can do a 9.5.
Yeah, don't do it. I mean, there's quite a few times I've said that over the last 3 weeks. Don't do it. But that's the reality, and we do. And often the goal escalation doesn't just come from the runner themselves. I mean, we see it at the expo when people come and buy their pacing bands, and they just want to run. They just want to finish. They don't actually care what time they run, but they just want to finish. And then the person next to them is like, going, no, but you're so fit, you're so strong, you can do an 8.5. And I'm like, hey, what's the fastest Comrades you've done? 10.5 hours. I'm like, whoa, how did you get it from 10.5 to 8.5? So no, it does happen. Some of it's excitement, and a lot of it is also well-meaning people around you, or a friend who semi-selfishly actually would just love to experience the day with you, but it's just not worth it. I mean, the best way to run Comrades is to be conservative. It's like, even if you are nursing this secret goal or long-term aspiration of being at a certain point in time, take steps to get there. And this, I promise you, is that at Comrades, if we are wrong on the conservative side, you will make up most of it in the second half. If we're wrong on the aggressive side, I'm going to go back to last week's podcast, you're going to cost yourself 8 minutes for every minute that you are too aggressive in that first half. So if you are someone who's done like a 3:30 marathon and maybe you've gotten fit enough that you are now a sub 3:20 minute marathoner, and we send you out at an 8:50 to 9 hour Comrades, and you're capable of an 8.5, then I promise you that on race day that you're going to run pretty close to 8:40 or faster. So you'll get almost down to the 8:30 because you will fly through the second half. But if you are that 3:30 guy, but you think you're the 3:20 guy, and you go for 8:30, you're going to run 9:15, 9:20. You're not even going to get your bull run. Okay. So don't let the goal escalate. Remember what you trained for. Remember what you're capable of. Plan your race around that. Stick to that till around 50, 55 Ks. And if you feel, and Brad said this a few weeks ago, you want to get bored before you get tired. I think that was the words you used. So, if you get to 55 Ks and you're bored, well, that's cool. Then you let the dogs out and you can kind of run on feel and start picking up the pieces as you hit all those downhills. But be patient. Comrades is real exercise in patience.
Yeah, Lindsey, while we're talking about goals, and we spoke about the pacing charts in that last week, and don't forget, come by the expo, pick up your pacing charts. We'll be selling them at the Coach Perry stand. With regards to like plan A, plan B, plan C, should you just go in there with one? Like, you know what, we've worked out 2.5 times my marathon time. That's what I'm going for, and that's what I'm sticking to. Should you take multiple pacing charts? So like you spoke about the 3:30 versus the 3:20 in a Bull Rowan. Should you go for like just under 9, just over 9, like that? Like, should you have a plan B and C, or is it we're going for broke?
No, so I think a lot of people, when they started the process, were like, I would give anything to run under 11 hours. It's all, I've especially internationals. I've had a lot of international athletes that have booked a call with me just to settle their nerves around what plan they should follow, and a lot of them are like capable of running quite fast comrades, but they're like, I just want to run under 11 hours. That's it. And so I think in that scenario, if you're capable of doing 10, 15, but literally you are adamant that the 11 hour that's what I want, then I would consider having like a kind of plan A, B, and C. And my plan A would be, because that's what's important to me, is I'd be conservative enough to lock in my sub 11, and then drift ahead of that in the second half of the race. And maybe I don't get down to my 10:15, but I've got my 10:45 to 10:30 as my next plan. Similarly, I do know people that have been running comrades for a couple of years. They're desperate for a Bull Rowan, and they are quite borderline, and you're always going to be up against it if you are borderline for that Bull Rowan. So your plan A will be Bull Rowan, and you've got to run within yourself and apply the principles of holding back in the first half. And if you find that you are really having to strain to keep to those sub 9s, then plan A ain't going to work. Then it's great to have a plan B and a pacing chart for plan B, so that you still know what you're working towards, because otherwise things just drift. At Comrades, if you start walking and you get a bit down because what you really wanted on race day was always going to be a bit of a stretch, and now you can't get it, then things just really start to fade away. But a chart can bring you back and go, okay, we knew 8 was going to be, or sub 9 was going to be a risky number, and if I chase it, I'm not even going to get under 10. But if I back off now, 20, 25 Ks in, I back off now and I go back to this chart, I give myself a real chance of still doing a decent Comrades and ending with around about 9:15 to 9:20.
Cool. Before we get into saving you 20 minutes on Comrades Race Day, is there anything that you wanted to add just to be aware of around the expo, things with checklists, making sure everything's ready before we get into that saving
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure, because some people may not have listened to last week, number one, and number two, you get nervous when you get into this last week. There's absolutely no question. Hopefully you've got your checklist. Hopefully now, knowing that it's Monday before race day, so hopefully your bag is also packed. But if it's not, make sure you've got your checklist. Check off every single thing on that checklist. I like to have 3 ticks, as it were. So I make my list after the Comrades long run, and I know that is what I need and what I have to have with me at Comrades Race Day. I put everything together a week to 2 weeks before it's time to go down to Comrades, and then in race week, two days or so before I'm due to leave, I'll then have my what I call my race bag, and that's my carry-on bag. That's going to go down to Comrades or whatever race it is that I'm training for, and then my list will get its first ticks, and that'll be everything that goes into the bag, and I know that there's a tick there so that it's in the bag. Off we go to Durban. When we get to Durban, you just never know what happens in life. I just give everything another tick. Make sure that everything that I thought I packed, I did actually pack. So it gets its second tick, and then it gets a third tick. Now, the third tick is the race morning tick, and that doesn't get a tick unless I've actually physically put it on or put it into like my gels, for example. After COVID, the Cape Town, the first Cape Town marathon that we could run after COVID, I trained so well. I had such a cool group of people that we trained with. I can't remember the exact number. I think there were 13 of us. We all trained for a sub 3, and ultimately on the day, I think 11 of the 13 got sub 3s. But anyway, I digress. I get there. I've done my checklist normal as I do. I'm tick everything. I've got 3 ticks, but I get to 8 kilometers and it's time for me to have my first gel, and my gels aren't with me. And I was like, I had no idea what. And then I remembered when I went to, just before I went into the start shoots, I went to a Portaloo and I took the gels out and left them there. So anyway, that's the moral of my story, is that I now only tick things when I know they are in and they are secured, and I will never take anything off once that third tick is there. But that's the list with the 3 ticks. That allows you to be really calm and measured and to do the things that you need to do. You don't wake up in a flap in the morning because you know everything's where it's supposed to be. You get up, you have a shower, you come out, you get dressed, and you tick that final list. And you know that you've got it all. And then with regard to the expo, just again to summarize, if you get to Durban 2-3 days before, cool, go there, spend an hour or 2 at the expo, check out what you need to check out, get yourself some cool goodies, save that all for next time. And then if you're arriving like the day before, then just real quick in and out, like go through, have a plan, know what things you want to go and have a look at, but really including the time it takes you to queue and stand in there, 1 hour maximum, in and out, so that you don't spend hours on your feet and get tired for race day. And then like the golden rule, like honestly, most important rule, nothing new on race day. That's like, the rule 1 of Fight Club, nothing new on race day. That's it.
I love that. All right. Speaking of race day, this is it. This is why people are here, Lindsey. They want to know how to save themselves 20 minutes on the Comrades up run.
So, guys, if you haven't done Comrades, I promise you're about to experience one of the greatest things that you can experience in road running. Comrades does a start like no other race on earth. I've raced all over the world, and nothing has come even remotely close to the start of the Comrades Marathon. Okay? You're going to get to the start, and it's important that you get there early because there are lots of people, spectators and athletes. There's 20,000 athletes, just over 20, I think it's going to be almost 23,000 this year, that are going to be at the start line and with their spectators. So if you aren't there at least half an hour before the start, you're in trouble, because you're going to have problems getting your stuff into the tog bag trucks. You're going to have problems getting into your starting pen. Now you've really earned your seating. You don't want to get there 15 minutes before the race starts and they've closed your seating pen and you've got to go and start in H at the back. Okay, so make sure you get there early. soak up the atmosphere. It's like you're going to a rock concert. Races in South Africa start early, and it's on the East Coast, so it's really dark when you get there. There are floodlights, there's music playing, so much excitement, nervous excitement, so many runners, people you know, people you don't know. If you're an international athlete, probably fewer people that you know, but still, it's just a great, exciting time to be there. Get there early and soak up that atmosphere. About 15 minutes before the race is due to start, as I said, they're going to close off the seating pens and they take away the barriers between all the seating pens. Okay, now this is where the comrades really starts to come into its own. Its barriers drop, everyone starts shuffling forward to the start line, and the closer you are to the start line, the more you can literally feel the weight of these 23,000 bodies. There's bus drivers that really know how to build up the gears, and they're singing traditional songs and getting everyone excited. And then comrades will start its sort of formal activities, if you like, going into the start, when we get chariots of fire, and then we get Shosholoza, and then they play the South African national anthem. And now for South Africans, this is really as close as the average person is ever going to get to representing South Africa and playing in an international match at Kings Park against the All Blacks, or against Nigeria at FNB Stadium. It's really like the pinnacle of the average person in South Africa's running career. And it's, as an ultra athlete, this is as close as it's going to get for most of you to be at a world championships. And so when national anthem is playing, emotions are high. There will be people that are shedding a tear, and it's just an unbelievable goosebump moment. Okay, national anthem stops. Then there's Max Trimborn's recorded cockcrow, which was a guy that used to do a traditional cockcrow before the start of every comrades, and it signified the start of the comrades. Then there's a pause, and boom, the cannon goes, and that is the start of comrades. Now you have been standing there, you're emotional, you've got goosebumps, you are nervous, excitement is high, you want to get going, and nothing happens. You're standing still, and your anxiety starts to go up. Because you know, especially if you're all the way at the back, you know that you've only got 12 hours to finish. And Lindsey told me that with a 4-hour 50, I'm a 12:05 finisher. Now I'm losing more time. So now, you know, you're getting it, and you just want to run, and then slowly you can see the heads bobbing up, and people are moving, and now slowly you can start walking. You want to run, but you can't run, and eventually you get over that start line and you start running. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you two critical things that are literally going to determine how successful the rest of your day is. When you cross that start line, the further back you started from, the more anxious you're going to be, and the more determined you're going to be to catch up the lost time. Okay, so you're going to write on your left arm, hold back, because the next 5 to 8 kilometers of comrades are going to be just about the most important 5Ks of the day. If you go herring out there in a panic, running way too fast, that's going to set the tone for your next 30Ks. And you're going to get to halfway, you're going to have caught up all your lost time, but you're going to be shattered. You're going to be emotionally, mentally, and physically shattered. And you're going to be in trouble for the rest of the day. So that first 1, 2, 3, 4 kilometers is just so important to hold back, get yourself back onto your pace band, settle yourself down, and stick to your plan. You've planned your race, now you're going to stick to it. The good news, if you're in H batch and G batch, those are the two that are going to lose the most time, is that you only have to get to halfway by 6 hours and 10 minutes. So even if you make up no time in the first half, you're not going to be cut off at halfway. You only really need to start making up that stagger in the second half.
We'll get back to this week's episode in just a moment, but I have got a pretty cool tool to share with you, the 2024 Comrades Marathon Up Run Finish Time Calculator. All you need to do is plug your marathon time in. If you want to get access to this, all you need to do is head over to coachparry.com/time and you can check it out. You can also scan the QR code that's on screen right now. That's coachparry.com/time. So easy to use. All you need to do is put your best marathon time in the last 12 months into this calculator, and it'll tell you what your predicted Comrades Marathon finish time is. So let's say, for example, you ran a 3:50. Let's call it a 3:56 marathon, right? It'll tell you that your predicted Comrades Marathon finish time this year, we've taken into account the slightly shorter route as well, 9:45:17. And that is amazing because that then allows you to create your own pacing band for a 9:45 Comrades. All you need to do is head over to coachparry.com/time. You can scan the QR code on screen right now as well. Once you've worked out what your predicted finish time is on that page, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll be able to purchase your Comrades Marathon pacing band, which you can then pick up at the Coach Parry stand at the Expo in Durban this year as well. So go check it out, coachparry.com/time.
So we'll make up a little bit of that to halfway. I promise you will. You'll stick to your plan, stick to the pace chart, you will make it through. So hold back. So important, because that's going to set the tone for the rest of your day. And then the second thing that you're going to do is you're going to write on your arm, don't stop. And this is really important because this is where your time saver is going to come in. Once you cross the start line and you get into your rhythm at 8, 10, 12 kilometers, somewhere along the way, that panic will subside, you start to have a cool time, and then the power of the comrades comes out, and you have all these spectators, and you start seeing people that you were looking forward to seeing, or even if you're an international and you've organized with someone like Consport to have your preferred drinks and whatever along the side of the road, the water points, the people at the water points are amazing. They will give you power. They will carry you. The physiotherapists will be singing songs to help you get through. There are specific spectator spots where they'll have DJs that are going to pump you up, and music and crowds that are going to pump you up. So the magic of the comrades is going to kick in, and you're going to forget about all that anxiety, and then you start to stop. You get to water points and you stop. You see people that you recognize and you walk over to the other side of the road and you have a chat to them. You might even see someone that's seconding you, and then you want to have a sit in a chair. You get to 60 kilometers and your legs are sore, and you see the physiotherapy stand, you're like, oh, love her. You go there. Every time you stop moving, the clock is going, okay? When you get to water points, every time you stop, I promise you that's 20 to 30 seconds wiped off the board. You've lost 20, 30 seconds for every stop. If you stop and talk to people, that's 30 seconds to a minute gone. Okay? We've got 46 refreshment stations along the route. So if you stop at half of the refreshment stations, you have just gone 10 to 15 minutes gone. You stop 2 or 3 times to talk to people, that's a minute to 2 minutes gone. That's another 6 minutes you've wasted. You go and stand in a queue to have your legs rubbed, you're going to be in a queue because there are many people that are really feeling sore and not in a good place. And so you stand in a queue. So you start adding these things up, and you will blow 20 to 30 minutes on race day, like that. When you get to the refreshment stations, you can and you should walk, because you want to make sure that you're going to get what you need at each station. You want to give yourself that ability to take in the energy drink, the gels, bit of water, to eat a snack, and that's much easier to do when you're walking. You must have a run-walk strategy when you are on Comrades race day. You have to break up the running with some walking so that you can make sure that you maintain a higher average pace in the long term, because you're keeping your muscles fresher. When you see people you've been looking forward to on the side of the road, you obviously want to have a conversation with them. So again, you slow down, you walk so that you can chat to them, but you keep on moving. And if you are tight on any cutoff, or you're tight on your goal time, you don't want to stop for a massage. Nice to have, but if you're tight on a goal time, it's the last thing you want to do. You're going to go in there, you're going to stand in a queue, you're going to have your rub, and when you come out, what you're going to realize is that by stopping moving for that length of time, is that everything's seized up, and it's so hard to get yourself going. So when you cross that start line, you are going to you're going to have on your arm. So when you cross that start line, you can remind yourself, don't stop. And the promise you're going to make yourself is that for every second, for the rest of the day, you are going to take a step that gets you closer to Pietermaritzburg. You can and you must walk, but you are not going to stop. You're not going to stop moving. You're going to keep moving. If you keep moving, you are not going to be at the finish line wondering to yourself, what could I have done differently on the day? I've just missed the final cutoff. I've just been cut off at Polly Shorts. I just missed the finishing cutoff. What could I have done differently on race day? Well, you could have kept moving. When I was talking to so-and-so there, when I was sitting over there, those are the moments that are going to cost you. So you want to hold back, but you must keep moving. If you do those two things in race day, you are going to be one of the people who finishes Comrades.
Absolutely. Brilliant stuff there, Lindsey. And the hold back is only applicable until you hit the grass at the finish. Then you can empty, then leave nothing out there. That's when you open up and you can go as hard as you can. Lindsey, that was amazing. And I think a lot of people are going to get tons of value out of that. I'm going to add my 2 cents, because we saw this at Two Oceans. And I'm just going to warn people about the cat's eyes. So a lot of people think running on the white lines is the shortest route on the course. It's not. Stay away from the lines on the roads, just because, particularly on the highways, there are massive cat's eyes. And we saw it at Two Oceans. We were standing at the halfway point, and the amount of people that were tripping over those cat's eyes, Lindsey, even on Roads Drive at Two Oceans, was amazing. Like, people were just falling left, right, and center. And the last thing you want to do is ruin a race like Comrades because you tripped over a cat's eye. So stay away from the lines, center line, the yellow median line on the right and left of the road as well. Just be super, super careful. It's so easy to trip over one of them. And then also just early morning as well. It's not going to be too bad, I think, on the up run, because it's a bit warmer in Durban, but a lot of people sort of stay warm with black garbage bags, and they get tossed, and they're really difficult to see in the dark. So be careful as well in the dark, tripping over those sorts of things. So that's my 2 cents worth, and looking forward to seeing everybody at the Expo. Anything else you wanted to add before you wrap things up for the series, Lindsey?
Yeah, one last thing. Really, if you are tight and you know that you're going to be close to 12 hours at the finish, then really familiarize yourself with the cutoffs. Okay, that's really important. The pacing bands that are being sold at the Expo have the actual times for the cutoff. So that band is not necessarily the ideal way to run Comrades, but what it will do is really tell you where you have to be by what time to avoid being cut off. Working out the cutoffs, it's not an exact science. There are a lot of people that are involved in putting it together. We had the issues we had at 2023. We had the issues we had at Two Oceans. just make sure you know where you need to be at what time. You don't want to be caught out because you're not aware, or you did a miscalculation or whatever it is. Just make sure. And if you're unsure, please come to the stand. We are there all day for 3 days. We'll talk you through it. We'll talk you through how to manage it and make sure that you don't get to a cutoff that you just miss, but you are still capable of finishing comrades. Just come, educate yourself, arm yourself, and make sure that you finish comrades.
Yeah, Lindsey, thank you so much. This series has been amazing. I know you've put a lot of time and effort into the content we've put out this year. I know a lot of people have found a ton of value in these videos and podcasts. So thank you very much. We look forward to meeting everybody at the expo. Please do come by the stand and say hi. And as Lindsey said, if you do need any help or explanations on those pacing bands, the team will be there over the 3 days in the build-up to Comrades Race Day. And we'll also be out on the course. One of my favorite days is standing on the side of the road, just cheering people on. It's hugely rewarding because we know how much hard work has been put into it. And we look forward to seeing you out there on the weekend. So safe travels if you are heading from far. We look forward to catching up with you at the expo and on Comrades Race Day. So from myself, Brad Nadalt, and the official Comrades Marathon coach, best of luck for Sunday. And we look forward to catching up again soon. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.